Hello there and welcome to the very special edition of Debate 411. We're calling it the best of Debate 411. My name as always is Eugene Anangwe. Now on the program we're going to be focusing on some of the highlights of the best shows that we've had right here on this particular show. Now we've talked about various issues of importance on this particular program, and one of them was the issue of the term limits debate, and we had one on whether or not the term limits have to be lifted. Take a look.
Well, the article is not the only article. Mm-hmm. Usually people are only discussing on an article which is not the right one. The right one is Article 1993, which shows how we can go about amending the Constitution.
But before we get into the amendment, let's first understand why did we even have that Article 101 for us to put this debate into context.
Why? It's because the people wanted it. Second, why did we put that idea of one? Of course, people have to get a mandate. The president, whether the president or anyone, any leader. That's why it is there, one. But of course, there was a question. Now, what if a leader doesn't work well? Mm-hmm. What to do? Then that's why we put it there 2 terms, so that if he wants to go on, people can stop him. Mm-hmm. But that goes with, if a leader does well, people can ask that he goes on working. Mm-hmm. That's why the article was there. And it can't go on alone. It goes with the Article 193.
We'll be talking deeply into about the Article 193. But
because it is the main.
Yes.
Because the one telling people how amend the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Any part of the Constitution can be amended. Mm-hmm. But the way in which it can be done, that is that Article 193. It is the most important.
So 193 is the most important article we should be looking at. Mutebi, you've been doing research, extensive research out there. Do you feel that what the Honorable Senator is saying right here today is reflective of what is happening today? Because he says the people put it there, and it was about giving someone a limit of how long they can serve. And if they serve well, they can continue based on the support that Article 193, in his opinion, is saying. Do you feel that we're living to this spirit today, of why we had even that Article 101 over there?
My view, let me first start with a general view about constitutions. Now, constitutions should reflect the will of the people for whom they are made. Now, the Constitution of Rwanda was made in particular circumstances, when Rwandans had specific ideas about how leadership should be installed and how it should be managed. Now that was in 2003, that is more than 10 years ago. Over the last 10 years, it's possible that the circumstances have changed and the Rwandans have changed their view. Mm-hmm. Now, how many Rwandans have changed their view about this? I don't know. I haven't conducted a census or a survey. I have no idea. How many Rwandans haven't changed their views? I have no idea. However, the few Rwandans that I speak to, it's very clear that there are those who say, no, we shouldn't touch Article 101, because if we touch it, what if we get a leader in the future who is not good? But there are those who say, look, there is a time when we thought term limits were good. That was when this constitution was being made. And that was in those particular circumstances. Now we think actually term limits can be harmful to the interests of Rwanda and Rwandans. So you have 2 sides debating this issue. And for me, I think that it is only right and proper that they should be given a mechanism through which they can resolve the debate. And that is the referendum.
The referendum,
yes.
which according to Frank Habineza, is illegal at this point. They have challenged this in court, and he feels that this is not even proper to even talk of a referendum in this particular case. Why would you even think of this in this particular way, based on these two points that have already been made over here?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, is that when we make a constitution or write a constitution, the articles in the constitution are written, they're in 3 categories. This is a normal way of, or legal way of writing constitutions. So there are articles which are called legid, and those which are called supra, and those which are called intangible. So the legid and supra can be amended in any way as stipulated in Article 193. But intangible articles, those ones cannot be touched, because when you touch them, the whole constitution collapses. So Article 193 is an intangible article. It's even written there that it cannot be amended.
193 or 101?
I've said it was 193. 101 is also intangible. Why? Because it's written there that under no circumstances shall a person hold the office of the president for more than 2 terms. So it's Article 101 has 2 clauses. The first clause says that the term of office is 7 years, renewable once. The second clause says under no circumstances. You mark that word, under no circumstances. So that word makes this article intangible. So at this moment we have 2 intangible articles in the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda, 101 and 193. So the 193 talks about who has the mandate to amend the Constitution. It says that the Constitution can be amended upon the request of the President of the Republic, with the blessing of the Cabinet, and then by the Parliament, either by the Senate or the Chamber of Deputies, but also after a vote of 2/3. It doesn't mention anywhere that people can ask for a change of the Constitution. But then it says that if there's any amendment which concerns the term of office of the President, that can go to the referendum. Mark the word, the term, not terms. The term is in this article, it's the same as which is mentioned in Article 101 in the first clause. The term of the President is 7 years. That one can be amended by either reducing to 5, which was originally we had 5 years, or it can be increased from 7 to 8 or 10. That one, but not the terms, which is the terms, those ones which you say that no person can have more than 2 terms, which is 2, it cannot be 3, or neither can be 1, or more, or none, because that one, it's not touchable.
But Professor Kayumba here has a very different view on even the stance that the two of you have. For him, in his article on the East African, he's even said that whatever is happening right now is even compared to those who are selling groceries. Like each and every one of you is trying to pull towards their side because of your personal interest. Kayumba, I'll bring you in on this one. Particularly looking at both of them have already put out their case on why the term limits were put in place, and even the window that was provided for a change or amendment of this term limit issue. But for you, you feel that they need to convince you as to why they really want this change, or they want this change not to happen?
Broadly, yes, because in this debate, I am really a social observer. I want to know what is happening and what people want. But before I say that, let me first comment on what my friend Frank just mentioned about constitutions and how they are amended and how they are changed. And he's telling us that there are certain, he refers to them as rigid articles that cannot be changed.
No, intangible articles are the ones I said, yes. Rigid can be changed and supra can be changed. But intangibles, they are not changeable.
Let me just make one point that I actually haven't seen anybody make, because there is the political argument to the Constitution that Senator Tito is saying, is mentioning, and my friend here, Frank, is mentioning, and the legal part to the Constitution. After the politics, after agreeing to amend, what is the legal process through which. So I want to say historically, there is no constitution that, or an article in a constitution that cannot change. What happens? It is the legal process through which that is done, and this is why we have double or single amendments. So if the Rwandan constitution, if legally they want to change it, there will be a double amendment. That means the article is talking about under no circumstance legally Parliament can first deal with that one, amend that one, and then go back to the first paragraph he was mentioning, you amend that as well. So I just want to put off this perception that there is something in the Constitution
that is untouchable.
Because constitutions are read like Bibles. Constitutions are not, you cannot read one article of the Constitution and you are done. Article 101 must be read together with Article 2, because they are saying power belongs to the people. And through whom you get power. So
and these are the people who have been sending millions and millions of signatures,
exactly,
calling for an amendment for this constitution.
It is like the way we interpret the Bible. The Bible, if you find a provision in the Bible, that it contradicts another one, that has to be explained by another provision in the Bible. Now this takes me to the point, the question you asked, whereby Tito Rutarimara is talking about the reasons as to why Article 101 was in the first place put in the Constitution. This reminds me, actually, it is very good that we are discussing with one of the most knowledgeable person on the Constitution, because he was the chairperson of the review process. I remember I met him in 2011. We had an interview on this particular question. Mzee Tito told me that only one condition can make Article 101 that talks about term limits change, and that was siege or under state of a state. So that's why I would love to know the circumstances, the particular circumstances, to convince me as one of the observers, the watchers, what is it that is special that has changed? Because even my friend here, Frank, even when he argues against that, he's putting together things, for example, citing democracy. I don't think actually Article 101 or term limits has anything to do with democracy. It has something to do with the three things. Number one,
maybe you may first
let him finish.
It is to ensure that perpetuity in power is dealt with. Number two, it is to ensure that somebody in power does not build patronage systems. And finally, that person who is holding power is more interested not in entrenching himself in power, but working for legacy, such that they leave a good name. It has nothing to do with democracy. It is only a tool that you can use to ensure that there is turnover in this office.
When it comes to power
and
handing over.
He cites democracy.
But when you bring
because if you talk about democracy,
yes,
you are talking about the voters, people who
deciding what they want and what they want to choose. But you bring in a key element in this debate tonight.
But democracy is not about voters only.
I want to bring in the issue of what has changed, because you have asked it and you've clearly stated it. And I would like to bring in Honorable Senator here. What has really changed, Senator? Because he feels that there was already a spirit and a decision that we should not change a certain element of this constitution unless there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, which today is not the case. What has really changed that we really want to change this constitution?
Now, the thing is, first I want to correct something which Frank has said. He said that the articles in the constitution which are intangible, that they are remaining. Well, it is only 1, 3, 9. Is it the only intangible article? That's it. And again, the constitution is the wish of the people. Anytime there is even a coup d'etat, remove the constitution and write another one. The article that is not intangible is that one showing how to go the procedures of amending the constitution. It is only one in the case of the constitution of Rwanda.
I wish to disagree, Honorable Tito.
No, you will disagree after.
Okay. First, I remind Senator Tito, I was a student at the National University of Rwanda at Butare, and you came yourself. And we asked you that why do you put 7 years in the Constitution? It's too much. And you explained to us that you see that if we put 5, if someone requires to change the Constitution, you may have to change it, maybe like in Uganda they were doing it. But you said that 7 is good because if there are 2 terms, it will be 14 years. So that is a good time for a person to do his work, and then we don't have to change. And we believed you, Honorable Tito.
No, I don't think it's how I said it.
That's how you said it.
No, I've been saying it everywhere. I was saying we give 7, because by the way, that idea was not ours, it was of the people. They are the ones who proposed the 7. And again, when we discussed, we found that it is right. Because the first year, people are preparing themselves. They only work the second year and the third year, and they start thinking of another mobilization. And you find that when it is 5 years, only people work for 2 years without pay. And so we came out. Why don't we give them 5 years of work? 1 year for mobilization in the elections, and the last one, mobilization of the elections. That's it. That's
That's how you came up with 7 years.
So it came 7 years, and it's how we made it. If we want, I can show you the written documents we wrote from there. Then it might be someone else. I'm not the one. Because we wanted to give these people 5 years of work. Minus one, the first year when he's still in the mobilization, and the last year when he's still preparing for going for other elections, it doesn't work properly. Then it's why I said we should give them 5 years of work. And so we went around discussing with the people.
Right. Did you also know that in the history of the Miss Rwanda beauty pageant, the finalists had never appeared on a live televised show, and of course an all-English televised show? They were here on Debate 4-on-1. Take a look. Nice to see all of you right here, the beautiful faces. But of course, most people have always been wondering and saying that, you know, being Miss Rwanda is all about the beauty, and people only see the beauty as part of the most important thing, in this contest. Let me talk to number 11. Do you agree that, you know, it's all about the beauty, and what's so important about Miss Rwanda beauty pageant for you?
Thank you very much. Personally, I don't believe it's only about the beauty. I believe it's about content, and I believe it's about knowing your culture and your roots. And I believe, well, there is the bonus of beauty, but it's really never the main thing.
It's never the main thing.
It's never the main thing.
It's about the roots.
It's about the roots, it's about the content, the way you can speak to people and the way you can express, and the brain in your head, basically.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. And then for those who always think that it's just about the beauty, what would you tell them right now?
I would say it's not really about the beauty. I would say it's about the inside of you. It's about what you really want, about being focused, and about showing kindness and gentleness. For me, that's what really beauty is all about.
Right.
Yes. So
awesome. Let me talk to number 17. Because in the song, the Miss Rwanda 2016 theme song, they say, Turashaka, umukobwa, ufite ubumenyi, kandi ufite umuco. So tell me about the umuco in Rwanda. For you, what does it mean? What is Rwanda's umuco?
Rwanda's umuco, like you just said it, it's about the culture, So they're looking for a girl who knows the culture, who basically doesn't have a foreign culture, because we're Rwandese here and we're looking for a girl who has the character of a really, really good Rwandese woman.
What is that character for you?
Well, as we all know, Rwandese women are supposed to be kind. They're supposed to have a personality that is not up high, you know, the type that is all in the air and taking everyone to be down on the floor. And they're supposed to also be the type that is caring and that cares about the community, that cares about the country, you know, all those personalities.
Those are the personalities that are needed.
Yeah.
So we are not looking for one who's up there. You know, number 15. Tell me what this means to you, up there. So are we saying Treshaka uchechetse namazi? You know, the one who's just silent. Is this what we're looking for? Is it the culture of
No, it doesn't
Rwanda?
mean kodushaka uchechetse.
Yeah.
But Nyaminga, there are some values that she has to have. Like, you know, there are Rwandan values. She has to respect herself and own her respect so that people can respect her.
She doesn't have to what? She seems to not to agree. Just give her a mic to just counter that.
In Kinyarwanda, let me put it in Kinyarwanda because it might sound a bit better. But nagagomba kuba afite amarere maremare. Like
amare mare.
Yeah.
Like kwirata cyane, the one who's just up there.
Kwirata, gusuzugura, all those na marere maremare nyine.
Yeah. Let me jump there to number 1. You want to add something? Okay,
Yes.
just add and then we'll talk to number 1, right?
Yeah, the Rwandan values that are talking about, you have to be having the Rwandan values such as indangagaciro z'umunyarwandakazi. You have to be embraced with the Rwandan values. Kwihesha agaciro, our proud as Rwandese. You have to be having that pride, you know. So the Rwandan values is not all about keeping quiet or very humble, down to earth. Yes, it's a quality of a Rwandese lady, but the Rwandan values are kwicisha bugufi, gukunda igihugu, kwimakaza umuco n'indangagaciro z'umunyarwanda.
When you
Those are
walk
the Rwandan
out there and
values.
meet fellow ladies, whether they are of your age or not your age, what do you think about the personalities of most Rwandan ladies that you meet out there?
Oh, the personality of most Rwandan ladies is totally different from any other personality from any other country, because we do have what we have in common that other countries do not have.
Like what?
Our Rwandan values, respecting ourselves, our gaciro culture, our pride as Rwandan values, who are even empowered by our Honorable His Excellency Paul Kagame.
So that's what we have. That's what separates the Rwandan
That's what
ladies
separates
from the
Rwandan
others.
ladies from any other person.
Right. Let's jump to number 1, because it's a very important thing that we're talking about here, the values, you know, of a typical Rwandan lady. And she says those are the ones that separate us from other ladies. But most people, when they talk about Rwanda, you know, for those who haven't visited the country, and when they're talking about the ladies, they always say it's the beauty. But when it comes to the, you know, being able to go out there and express yourself confidently, they say, aongao amanota rihasichana. Do you agree with that?
Well, actually, I do agree as a Rwandan, but it's our culture. It's our culture to not pull ourselves out. So that's our culture from areas passes.
So the two are lying, the first speakers, that we are all out there. So it's our culture that we are always those who are silent. We don't want to be all out.
Yeah.
We want people to be the ones to talk, but for the ladies, nah, just chill.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Huh? Let her talk. Yeah.
It's not about don't put ourselves out. It's to talk much as it's the good you can. Yeah.
Awesome.
But not put yourself and say something which is not in the content. Yeah,
Right,
things like
right,
that.
right.
Thank you.
Let me talk to you, just right behind number 20. Tell me, in your own perspective, what separates a Rwandan lady from other ladies from anywhere else in the world?
Personally,
Yeah, go on.
personally, I think that a Rwandan girl is different from all the other girls on the world by having the Rwandan values. A Rwandan girl first have kwiyubaha, and I think it's something that makes us first different from all the other girls on the world.
Kuyubaha.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You have the pride.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
you walk out there, you walk confidently and you know, I'm a Rwandese lady, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about the critics of the whole Miss Rwanda beauty pageant. Some of them say, you know, from the time we started, from the time we had Grace Bahati, you know, we had the following ones, the Kundwa Dorians. They feel like Nagachiro, there's Namusaruro in the whole exercise. And I would like to hear from number 18. Do you agree with them? They say that we are just wasting money, wasting time in this project. What would you tell such people?
Well, I wouldn't say that they wasted their time, because probably selecting these ladies, they were well able to do this. But when it goes to these projects and fulfilling their dues as Miss Rwandas, well, it comes back to a problem of setting projects that are more than their capabilities to fulfill them.
So you say when they go to compete, people over-exaggerate the projects they want to do.
Well,
when they win, they're not able to fulfill them because it's not realistic. Is this what you're saying?
Well, they have these dreams,
yeah.
and they feel like they can do this. And they have this, they feel like they can fulfill these dreams of theirs. But sometimes it's more of not budgeting. You know, you first plan before you say something. So it's a problem of promising what you cannot really fulfill, like in real dues. So this comes back to a problem of making something that is over your position.
It's exaggerated.
Like, yes, it's exaggerated.
Why is it that mostly, you know, when ladies like you, when you're asked what projects you'll do, it's always about charity? You know, I will do this to help the kids in the streets. I will do this to help them. Is there a possibility of having a different project that is all out of the usual, like everything that everybody else says?
Yes. This year, I believe there are a bunch of...
What's yours?
Mine is about career guidance.
Career guidance.
I think this is something that us, the Rwandan students, need, especially in high schools. Being sure of exactly what you want to do, doing internships of what you really want to do, to be, you know, to love what you actually want to do in the future. And, you know, being able to be like, okay, when I become that, I'll be earning this. If I need to apply or make a CV, you have an office that you can go to, and they can help you with everything.
Right.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Mine is about career guidance.
Career
it's not
guidance.
really about charity. It's well, to a certain extent, but yeah.
Okay. Behind number 20. Could you tell me, you've said something at least, yes, but could you tell me whether that would be the right thing to do? Distributing, making condoms available as part of the way of reducing new HIV infections. Would that be something that you'd advocate for?
Yes, I think that it's something really good to be used when it's sometimes hard for people to abstain themselves. And if they can't, I think that they can use condoms instead of getting that HIV/AIDS.
Right. Right. So you'd advocate for the distribution of these condoms. Who would not want to advocate for that? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. Why wouldn't you? Before we go for the break. Right. Take the microphone. Let's give her the microphone. Why would you not advocate for the distribution of condoms as a way of reducing HIV infections?
Thank you. First of all, I agree with the Bible. The Bible says that we have to quifata. Yes.
We have to quifata.
Yeah, quifata.
Okay.
To not having sex,
Yeah.
to not...
Quifata, yes.
Quifata.
So that's the
Ukaba
best.
umukristu, ukareka izo nzira zose zituma ugetinga that HIV. Thank you.
Yeah.
tambuka gikobwa haranira iryo kamba wihesha agaciro mwana wanjye indangagaciro z'umuco nyarwanda zizakubera iteme rigutembesha hirya iyo mu mahanga nugerayo ushenge uzaratire bose ibyiza by'u Rwanda dore warahavutse mwana wanjye kandi ntaheza nk'iwanyu urashaka ufite ubwiza ufite ubumenyi.
Right. Well, the program has also been able to host high-profile officials and dignitaries. On this particular show, we also managed to host the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Madame Louise Mushikiwabo.
Some people have said
this is corruption. You want me to go so that I get this particular money? Probably before you come in, you'll be coming in, and of course also Shaka. But let's also clear the air on this one, because when you talk of contributions, you've cited an example. But is this the direction you want the African elite to take?
Let me just say that I know Mo Ibrahim very well. I think he's a smart African. He's very knowledgeable about the world. But I fundamentally disagree with two things. One is the idea that African leaders have to be bribed
to
do the right thing. That, to me, is wrong. Two, the governance index and all that. You know, we've been observing indices and, you know, classifying countries and all that. There's a lot of politics behind that, which I don't want to get into now. But for me, the idea that, you know, I, as an enlightened African who is watching my continent, I am going to put money aside so I bribe these otherwise corrupt leaders to actually do the right thing. You know, we should be doing the right thing for us. We should not be doing the right thing to get $5 million. We should not be doing the right thing to please somebody out of London or Washington or no.
Maybe that's one of those statements where they say desperate moments calling for desperate actions. That we have to get to that point to make sure that our leaders do the right thing, bribe them.
But you see, that's negative incentive. That's negative incentive. I think, for one thing, this is a contribution to this idea of, you know, Africans are either victims or brutes. No. There are many, the majority of Africans are in between. Those are extremes. And these extremes exist. I am in no way denying some of the serious dysfunctions we have on the continent. But I'm just saying, we are just like anybody else. Conflict, there is conflict all over the world today. Bad leaders, there are bad leaders everywhere. Great leaders, there are great leaders in every part of the world. Not to mention that we, the continent of Africa, have been dealing, and we continue to deal with, the baggage of history. A history that is not of our own making. A history that has been meddled into. A history that, you know, calls for a sense of responsibility from parts other than Africa. So I'm just saying, Africa is not some strange beast that came from, you know, some strange planet. We are a continent, one, with a difficult history that has been contributed to by all these other countries that have never taken responsibility for the consequences of that history. We have excellent people. We have problems. But where is there no problem in the world today? That said, because I'm African and because primarily I want my continent to do well and to do better than many others, I also recognize that we have serious challenges, we have dysfunctions, and we're not doing the right thing necessarily. But for me, it's just a question of we're not different.
Yes.
We have the same issues that others have. We haven't been good at resolving some of these issues. But, you know, let's not forget the little meddling that it's always, you know, under the rug somewhere on the continent. We take responsibility, but others should also take responsibility for what's happening on the continent today.
Gatete. So the sad reality is that, you know, even with the good that we have, mostly the bad is what is overshadowing the good that we have in the continent. And the role of the elite, those who are informed from the continent, is to actually clear the air on these issues, and we are not doing that.
Just let me come back to the idea that intellectuals and educated. Do you know, Eugene, before the Bible and the Quran and all these books, they were not read by everyone. There were people who would read them, then go explain.
Let's hit the nail on the head, Gatete.
Yeah, give me. I want to develop this.
Yes.
I've been thinking. So, this education that the African elite receives, which school do they go to? Do they go to the school of life? They go to a particular school. And that school, that information you get there, it's so misleading if you are not well prepared, that actually it's not true that the African intellectual people are actually smart or clever or intelligent. First of all, they are educated from a colonial education system. Now, to be able to understand how useful that knowledge that you acquire can apply to your continent is a completely different dimension of education. Maybe, in my opinion, maybe we should have everyone who, after they graduate from their PhDs in Western education, maybe we should put them through Ingando and education, Pan-African education, that makes them understand that all these things that I've been listening to, Latin, law and whatever, how do I actually
apply it?
Because most of the African educated intellectuals are actually useless for peculiar African problems. And that's the tragedy, because they're the ones who are given the platform. They're imagined, they tell you that they're intellectual, that they're intelligent. Most of them are imposters, Eugene. Now, the problem is that, so the education is actually not appropriate to respond to my grandmother's problems. Now, I want to come back, which brings us to the idea of critiquing and criticizing. Criticizing is fine if your democracy is 200 years and your development is at the level where people are not hungry, people are not, everyone is educated, everyone has basic needs. You can sit, politics is operated on television in the West, and rightfully so. I mean, on the understanding that everyone has a television and electricity to watch that television. Now, if you do politics on the television, for someone who hasn't actually eaten, he won't even watch it. So the only reason people criticize is because they haven't understood, actually, why am I doing even this? That's what he learned in his school of journalism or of law or of human rights, that to be a good human rights activist, I went to the school of human rights. I was told you have to criticize these things, you have to but they haven't understood, to what end am I doing this? Now, the thing is, all this stems from a particular problem. The reason African leaders insist that you have to critique, come up with solutions, is because we are playing catch up. There's just not enough time, not enough resources to take time to.
So they want you to be part of the solution.
We have no time. We know problems are there. Everyone knows they're there. But we just want solutions now because there's no time, to deal with repeating the problem. Why? Because it is the world that we inherit today. So I just want to come back to one more thing.
Very quickly, because we're out of time.
It's one of the things that we have to blame our leaders about is the investment into media and communication. It's very new, and we were talking about so when we talk about the discourse of the world today, and the reason African intellectuals have to say bad things about Africa is because they have to fit into a narrative, which a Kenyan author calls the victim, savage, savior metaphor of human rights. So African population are victims, African leaders are savages, and they, the saviors, come with the, it's a metaphor that exists, that has been set by Western media. Now, it can only be offset by African media. Otherwise, it will continue to be that discourse. If you don't say Africans are victims, and for you to not be a savage, you have to be closer to the savior, which is the West. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it stems from all there, Eugene.
I will allow
so
you
I think
to continue
to land,
on
to
this.
land one thing.
Yes.
Just one more point.
Yes.
I really think everyone who is educated in the West needs actual education to tell them now. For us to harness,
be re-educated.
to harness all your information, you have to do this.
Yes.
This is how we can use it.
Yes. But sadly, we all feel like going to be educated out there is the in thing. This is what most of these children and some of the parents wish for. We look for scholarships to go there. But he's saying, no, you have to come back here for reschooling.
No, it will not happen.
Very quickly, yes.
But well, I'll really go off on a tangent.
Yes.
Look, we shouldn't be sitting here thinking that there is a particular elite that is going to solve Africa's problems. It begins with myself. It begins with you. And how do we go about it in Africa? I'm afraid we, the elite, have miserably failed, where others have succeeded. Why? Because we in Africa, the elite, the educated, the salaried, the people who have money, enjoy too much going shopping, enjoy too much, luxury brands and not buying from their own manufacturers. And I'm guilty. Enjoy too much the easy way out, going to the swimming pool on Sunday, being the elitist that Gatete was talking about. We just don't do enough as a society, especially as the elite who should know better. Go to the West, and I hate to point this out, but there are things they do. You will find college kids, people who are pampered in their own societies, and she or he is on the street handing out flyers for a cause he or she believes in that will change. You will find them, talking about orphans, saying, look, we have orphans in a particular area, what's going on? And this kid is not going to the TV to watch the English Premiership or whatever else is going on. This kid will be on the street handing out flyers, volunteering, putting in time, that is very important, putting in the effort. That is standing in the cold, and and you'll be very surprised that very kid or that very person or that very mother who is sitting out there is very wealthy. They are living in an apartment in New York City.
But they've decided to volunteer.
They are putting in the time, while we are content to enjoy the good things of life, and then when things are not working, we are criticizing.
We are complaining. As we close, Madam Minister. Yes.
Before we close, let me just be fair to the West, so to speak. Ideally, what should happen to us who have tasted both worlds is to pick what's good in the West and bring it and apply it here. Learn from some of the good practices. Learn from just the enrichment we get from contact with other cultures and civilizations. So the idea is not to reject just because it's the West. There are many. I have received a very good education in the United States of America. When I come here to Rwanda, some of the good things I've seen in America, I'm not applying them to my country. That's really part of the problem also. I come back to the continent, I've seen good working methods, I've seen professional standards, I've seen kindness, I've seen, I've had very bright teachers and so forth. When I come here, I should be picking the good things that I've seen, push aside some of the bad things because they are, and try to apply them for my own benefit in my own country. But that's not always the case. Some people cynically say that, you get back home and you are localized, which is a negative thing, which I don't like. But it is the reality.
So should
that
we localize them as
the good practices, we need to bring them here. We need to actually proactively go out there to Asia, to America, to Europe, to the Arab world, and carefully look for those good things and come and plant them in our own garden here. So, I mean, for the sake of debate, it's good to go a bit extreme, a bit like Gatete.
Super.
But Eugene, let me say that I have a lot of faith in young people on this continent. I have a lot of faith in the young people in this country. I never thought I was born and I grew up in Kigali here. I've never thought I could see top fashion talent in Rwanda. I never thought I could see painting. Painting is not something that, you know, is part of Rwanda, but you look at some of these young artists in Kigali. Look at music in this country. So the youth of the continent is inspired. So they need all of us to kind of push that momentum and tell them that they're doing well and tell them, look, use all that talent, whether it's art or science, use it to advance your continent. Keep open to the world because we're not an island, and bring that to your own situation. So I'm not an Afro-pessimist. I just think we're a bit lazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are out of time, literally. Sorry.
Honorable Jean-Philbert Nsengimana, the Minister of Youth and ICT, popularly known as the Rockstar Minister, was also here. And he was not alone. We also had Facebook's public policy representative, Madam Ebele Okobi, right on the program to talk matters ICT. Take a look at that.
I'd like to look at this, as two sides of the same coin, two aspects of same problem. It's not about what the government does only. It's also about the response that people give. This environment is about how people take advantage of it. And I can tell you that the market has been responding phenomenally well. When, for instance, mobile money technology came up back in 2010, we ended up the year with less than 200,000 subscribers. The next year was 500. The next year was 1,400,000. The following year was 3.3. By now, we are more than 6.8 million subscribers of these mobile financial services.
We know that operators like Airtel, all the operators operating here in Rwanda, have done a really great job in terms of building infrastructure. We also know that that infrastructure often is concentrated around urban areas and not necessarily in rural areas. But given what population spread is across Africa, a lot of population is in rural areas. So one of the things that we're doing as Facebook is partnering with other organizations and doing a couple of things. One, looking at the use of satellite, because satellite can provide backhaul. From an operator's perspective, it's often just not economically feasible to lay fiber all the way out in rural areas. But this is where satellite can come in.
Well, I also just came to realize that we also hosted a royalty on the program.
Yeah, because I'm a monarchist by birth.
Yes.
So my surname Agutamba, you'll know that I come from a kingdom. Bunyoro Kingdom was one of the greatest, political systems in Uganda before the British came to introduce their own version of, political order.
Right, we're going to take a very short break right now. And of course, if you want to get in touch with us, it's pretty simple, at Debate411 or at Eugene Anangwe. The hashtag we're using is Best of Debate411 or the usual hashtag Debate411. When we return, more of the best of Debate411. Do stay with us.
When quality matters, you can count on Nakumatt Supermarket. Since we don't just believe in high standards but also maintaining them, we are ISO certified across East Africa to guarantee your peace of mind. Nakumatt, you need it. We've got it. Talk to us today.
And welcome back. Thank you so much for still being with us. Keep those tweets coming. Best of Debate 411 is the hashtag, or the hashtag Debate 411. You can still use that one. You can tweet us directly at Eugene Anangwe, or tweet at Debate 411, and definitely we'll be able to sample some of your comments right here on the program. Now, Media Matters received a lot of airtime on this particular program. We talked about issues affecting the media, from even recently where we had a conversation on whether or not to decriminalize defamation. But this particular show or episode was deemed the most explosive one on Media Matters.
And by the way, you should also apologize, Mr. Bahati, with due respect. You don't call the entire media practitioners uninformed.
You are not the
all
entire.
Right?
You are not the entire, my brother.
Please.
I'm a man who apologizes.
Please, can I have my time as well?
Yes.
All right.
There is
so you want him to apologize to you?
Doesn't
no, to the
industry.
To the industry.
Don't misquote me. You are not the entire. You are a journalist.
If he so wishes, he can apologize to me as well.
No, you are not an entire.
Can I go on?
Because he might misquote me.
This is not the point.
You are not
Listen.
an
Okay,
entire.
let me come
Mr.
in
Bahati,
here.
calm down.
So
I can apologize
Bahati,
to you, not to entire.
Bahati,
entire.
hold on. So are you going to apologize to him?
Why?
Because he
He's
feels
not
like
informed.
Okay, so he's not apologizing for that.
It's okay. So his concern that if we organized elections today, that some of us will not vote. That is his concern. All right? Please don't get concerned by people who don't have cards. Just organize elections. People who have cards will vote.
And what about those who don't have?
So
please, we shall not wait for Jesus Christ to come back.
You are 100 journalists.
All right?
Let me tell you, brother. The law says, for this time I need to cool down, actually. Thank you. Brother Ngarambe, the law says, read the law of 2013, that Rwanda Media Commission accredits journalists. So for you to be a journalist exercising here, you need to be accredited. Out of 100 journalists, by the way, they can be even more. Only 280 own press cards. And you are telling me, go and elect. So you want the Rwanda Media Commission to be owned by
does
who?
this
Fantastic.
Who do you want to
A simple
own
question.
it?
Just hold on. So does this mean that if the status remains the same, if factors remain constant,
No, we
will not have
we
elections?
are mobilizing.
elections,
They don't want to
but at
understand
least-
us.
Let me listen to Mama Ngavire.
One is
Let me hear to Mama
mobilizing.
Ngavire.
Hold on.
Yes.
That's why I really hate debate where there are many hidden agenda. I don't like
So you
that.
feel there's a hidden agenda here?
I don't feel. I'm very sure.
Where?
And I
Where
have
is it?
fact.
Where is it? Where's the fact?
When you call,
Where's the
former,
agenda?
hold on. When you call the former
Chairman
chairperson who is out of the country, they fired the former ES, you hold a meeting today. To me, it's very clear, even for a child of 5 years, it's very clear that you have a hidden agenda.
There's an agenda.
If you take them like advisors, you have another objective. I don't want it, and I don't want even to know it. So what I wanted to tell you is this. For us, and maybe others, and a big number of journalists also, think that it's good, it's honest, it's even fair to some states to do such as campaign to all journalists to have their press card and then to come and to vote. Because to us, we think, and we are very sure on that, there is no fire in the house.
So
all duties are going on as usual. So that's why we said the good way is to journalists.
Does this convince you? The issue of saying, you know what, we want to mobilize them first. We do not want to just leave the others outside and say, okay, only those who have cards come and vote and we go.
Some journalists, no, you don't have the right to do
exactly.
elections.
So do you buy that? Do you agree
as
with
I make
that?
my point, I
makes
make
sense?
one thing. Please control Mr. Bahati. And I make my point. First of all, their assumption that every journalist must hold a press card means that it is telling us that we shall never have elections until all journalists have cards.
This is
totally
how you
wrong.
understand it.
It's like being in a country and the Electoral Commission says that now we'll never have elections because every person who has the age
of 18
of
and
18 years
above.
and above, they don't have.
Can you do election when you don't have?
They don't have.
Do you allow him to
ID?
lie?
No.
This is the assumption you're coming up with.
That he feels is being made.
Bahati, it's an assumption you're coming up with.
Bahati, let me bring in Bahati because it makes sense. Have you finished?
No.
Okay, finish the point.
These are my concerns.
Yes.
And I want them to answer. Specifically, why don't we have elections? 2, where is the state of the media report that was done by the consultant and which they commissioned themselves? Let them tell us.
Two questions.
I've
been asked there.
Let me report first and they will come after me. First of all, if all journalists don't have press card, elections will be done. If you have 1 month, after 1 month, all journalists are aware on that. If you don't have your press card, to me, I will be very comfortable to tell you, no, you can't do elections because you don't have a press card. Not like today, if you can come and I tell you, no, you don't have your press card, so you can't vote. Because at the time, you can ask me, you can tell me that you was not aware on that, and you will be very right. So we don't want that situation.
So we won't wait for all journalists to have cards to vote.
Not
so
all.
Elections will
Not
go
all.
on.
We want to wait for this month and to tell to journalists to come and have the press card. For those who will not have the press card after that,
Don't complain.
will not, that will not be our business. Because we think that we will do our best for that.
So,
now, it's the same thing with the report. Remember, those people, they are really amazing. Because when journalists themselves said that we don't know this report is not ours. We want first to read it, then to validate it, and we give to them the report.
Now, it's on record. It's in the New Times.
Yes, it's on record, but
on,
it has
let him finish. Let me build my point.
Let him finish.
Tell you what
yes,
I
you will respond.
It's in the New Times.
Yes.
But
she gave an interview.
In the New Times is not the Bible.
Wait,
are you retracting the statement?
No, I said that about the date of launching, not to order the report.
She said that it was not in the action plan, and indeed, this report is in the action plan of RMC. It's number 6.
Is this what you said? You're here. And the New Times you say it's not a Bible, so you're here to respond.
Let her retract the statement
No, I
she made
don't
in the
retract.
newspaper.
I don't retract. Sincerely speaking, listen to me, you people. You don't fear me at all. On my age and my what, I can't really be intimidated by you. Sincerely speaking, I don't even know if there is somebody in this country who can intimidate me, unless
she's wrong.
Unless I am wrong. There, I am very vulnerable. But otherwise, no.
Now, we had a very special edition of Debate 411, which we called the Kids Edition. Don't you all love kids? The Murenzis were here, and they brought the house down. Literally. Take a look. Let's talk about another key issue, because there are those who are saying today's children have really, known too much already, that they don't need to know. But there are those who are arguing and saying, it's important to talk to these children when they're already, young, so that they are informed and they are able to protect themselves when it comes to troubles that might come along the way concerning these issues. When it comes to issues of your reproductive health, do your parents already talk to you on this issue? And should parents even talk to children about these issues? The difference between you and the brother out there, or that boy who you school with in school. Do you have this kind of discussions?
Yeah, we did it in school, but it was a very uncomfortable situation because we didn't yet learn about it, and it was very awkward in my classroom when we were talking about it. But it's okay to tell them, but it depends on the proper age. No, because the world is a very mysterious and dark place, so you have to train them before. but at the right time.
What would be the right age?
Like at 10 and above.
10 and above.
Yeah.
All right. What about you? What do you think?
No. Kids aren't supposed to know what the differences are.
It's awkward.
No, they're not even supposed to know.
The number of no's that she has used to express this particular point. What do you think about it?
It's a very uncomfortable topic, especially if it's your parents telling you, teaching you about this. It gets very awkward, and especially if you're in mixed schools, boys and girls. When the teacher is teaching you and then he, for example, asks you a question, it gets very awkward, and it's not something that you'd want to know about. Like at an early age. The age you're like supposed to know is like when you're preteen, a teenager, 13 and above.
So how do we go about it so that our children are safe? Because if they are not able to be comfortable to be talked to about these issues, they might have problems. And they would want to be helped. So who's the right person then? Because you feel like parents would be awkward. You say in school it was also awkward. So who should talk to you about these issues?
Your parents, because they've gone through it, they've learned it. But if it's a teacher, a total stranger telling you about your body, it's kind of weird. But also parents, they go into the deep details, which is kind of weird because we're like kids and we need to keep our innocence.
We need to keep our innocence. Who's the right person to talk to you about these issues?
It depends, because like, for example, if you're a girl, it's your mother who should tell you. It's not supposed to be your dad. And like, there's a certain point that maybe your parents might be telling you and you don't feel comfortable about it, you just tell them to stop. And it's not supposed to go on until a certain
When you're
stage
proper
or age.
in terms of maturity, who's the right person to talk to you then?
Yeah, your parents, but children can avoid it. But somewhere in life they'll have to learn about it. So it's better not to avoid it. You learn it while you're still like at an okay stage. But it's your parents supposed to teach you, not your teachers. Because if it's your teacher, you have not known them so much and they're just telling you things that make you uncomfortable. So it's...
So you have to really be open-minded in terms of this particular issue. What about relationships in schools? Because we already have these things happening. Sometimes your parent is checking your bag and they find a note from a certain boy who sits next to you or behind you or close to you. Is it proper to have these relationships already? Is it okay for pupils and students to have, boyfriends and girlfriends in school?
No, because you've not yet been... It's okay to date like when you're 18 and above, but when you start dating like when you're a teenager and you've not yet known, it's very awkward. You might feel like it's okay, but it's not, because you don't know what the people have, you don't know their intentions. So, but for me in school, I'm good to be around, so, but I don't allow it to go that far. Yeah.
Is it okay to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend when you're still in primary school?
No, because like, what's the need of one? Don't you have brothers and sisters you can go to talk to? Why do you need like a boyfriend or girlfriend? It doesn't make any sense. Like, don't you have a life? You don't need a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They're no use to you. And if they like you, that's their problem.
That's their problem, not your problem. You have a life. I like that. What about you?
You should not have a boyfriend or girlfriend at a teenage age, because nowadays people have weird intentions. So you should not let your friendship exceed another level. Like, being a boyfriend and a girlfriend is like a stage where you're not supposed to be in. It's like when you have a boyfriend and girl, seriously, what's the use of a boyfriend? I don't even in school, why do people have boyfriends or girlfriends? It's very awkward. You see your boyfriend every day, he's smiling at you. What's the use?
Some will argue and say, you know, he helps me to do mathematics, arithmetics. He's good in English. He exchanges notes with me and he helps.
No, if they're that's using them. If they're like good in this or this or this, you're using them to like have a reputation, to like pass things. But then a real boyfriend or girlfriend should not be used. You should know each other. And being a teenager, it's not the right time to start thinking of having a relationship, those stuff, yeah.
So the right time is when you're ready for marriage. Right.
No, like when you're 18 or above.
18 or above. You seem to be itchy. What's up?
They say that you need a boyfriend for math. You go to your math teacher. You go to your parents. You have brothers. What you don't understand, go to your brother or sister. He exchanges notes with you. For what? Why would you have a boyfriend when you're still at school? You still need, don't you see them? You get bored of their faces. It's not necessary. I even see the use of a boyfriend or girlfriend at this age, or like even at teens, because it's just weird. You're not ready for that. I don't even think it's supposed to be like that.
It's never supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Well, and those kids amazing, and of course we're hoping to have more of this particular conversations with everybody of all walks of life. But of course it is that particular point where we bring down the curtains to this very special edition of Debate 411. We're calling it Best of Debate 411. Thank you for always being a part of the program. At Debate 411 is the Twitter handle, or you can tweet me directly at Eugene Anangwe. Definitely let's stay in touch and keep the conversation going. From me and the entire production team right here, right now, we want to say bye-bye and thank you so much. As always, I'm Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye for now.
Is an EA production.